Julia, just let's kick off with the settings that we've seen as Brooke was flagging. The rally of sorts yesterday to take us above 4,500, now a distant memory. Where to next?
It was a pretty awful night on overnight markets, so the leads for the Australian market are looking pretty ugly. In the US, we saw very much in focus the upcoming fiscal cliff, and it is now looking like the US stock market may have peaked for the year. We saw the Nasdaq as well as the Dow Jones Industrial Average closing below 200-day moving averages, and the S&P 500 by the end of the session down by 2.4%. Some heavy losses in terms of commodities. In fact, oil prices down 4.8% during the New York session. And we also saw copper prices down more moderately, down by 1.8%, but also the KBW banking index down by 4%. So it looks like the banks and the commodities may be sold off quite heavily today. I guess one of the barometers of the US market and the global economy is Apple, and Apple's the largest stock in the world. We saw this particular stock now trading below its 200-day moving average as well. And if we have a look at the stock price, it's fallen more than 20% from its peak, which says it's in a bear market. So unfortunately not a good day for tech stocks either. So all up, if we have a look at the US market, the leads have been very negative. If we have a look over to Europe, the leads were a little bit less than the US stock market, but we did see a read on industrial production in Germany, and we did see a fall there of 1.8% month on month. So no doubt that we are going to see German as well as European growth forecasts being revised. However, on a more positive note, we did see that Greek austerity vote going through, but expecting to see a fall of around about 1% on the Aussie market.
Lynas trading halts that plant in Malaysia, claims of it being radioactive. The environmentalists have taken it all the way to the court. What's the likely outcome? How do you trade the stock if you could now, because it's in a halt?
This is an important one for Lynas, because the more we see a delay in this temporary operating licence, the more we are going to see the company quite tight on cash, and it increases chance that it will need a capital raising. It was meant to start processing from its Malaysian plant this month, and indeed it was granted a temporary operating licence for 2 years. But as soon as that licence was granted, in fact 20 days afterwards, there was an injunction by the courts, and that decision is due by the Malaysian High Court today. So we'll be watching that very closely. It is on the back of environmental concerns, and I guess if we have a look at the rare earth space, the reason why it's so attractive right now is because of China. Now, China is responsible for more than 90% of rare earth sales, but in fact if we have a look at reserves, then it accounts for only 1/3 of reserves out there. So the main reason why rare earths have been in a bubble in the last few years is because of China's export quotas, where they have essentially pretty much stopped exporting rare earths, which are used for things like LCDs as well as mobile phones and technologies to the rest of the world. So there's been a scramble in order to try and I guess meet demand and increase supply, but of course this takes time. The thing with rare earths is that they are quite common. I mean, if you just have a look at the statistics, China's only 1/3 of the world's reserve, and yet they sell more than 90% of the rare earths to the rest of the world. So I guess it's a scramble for time to get in ahead of the pack while prices are still relatively attractive. And the longer the delay on this Malaysian plant, or the more tighter cash position that we are going to see Lynas. So this is a crucial one for the company today, and we'll be watching this decision very closely.